Hello, everyone, and welcome back to BenchWire. We got a new podcast in store for you guys today. We're on episode 52. I can't believe we're already on episode 52. Every week is flying by, but we got a lot to talk about today. And I want to welcome my co-host, Justin. How are we doing today on this fine Tuesday afternoon?
Great. My favorite time of the week, sitting here recording, talking about football. It's always good to be back. And especially good to be here with you, Steve. Yeah, man. What happened in the NFL this week? Because I sure don't know. Fill me
Oh,
in.
we
Let's
can
talk
fill
about
you
it.
in. We got a
Let's,
lot of stuff
let's
to
let the
talk
people
about.
know. Let's let the people
Yes.
know.
Well, today is the official day of roster cuts. We'll get into that later, but some big news happened yesterday, okay? Around lunchtime, I believe. CeeDee Lamb got his bag. He got paid, and he got paid $34 million a year and a $38 million signing bonus for the next 4 years. CeeDee Lamb is locked up. Their number one target, number one receiver, the alpha, the dog, CeeDee Lamb is here to stay in Dallas. And initial reaction to that, Justin, what do you think of that move? I think overall it's a good move, but I want to see what you
Mhm.
think about it.
Yeah, I think it was a good move. If you recall it back to a prior podcast episode, we were talking about who is the Cowboys going to pay first and who we think we should pay first. And I said CeeDee Lamb for both because he is that good, and it gives another shot at looking at Dak Prescott. If you didn't have CeeDee Lamb there, the Dak has like a excuse like, hey, CeeDee wasn't here. You didn't pay him. So he's here. That's great. I think it took a little bit longer. And I think it was good. I think he wanted to be the highest paid. He wanted to pass Jefferson, but they did not do that. But the good thing is they got the highest paid signing bonus at 38 million, which for non-quarterback that's the highest, and that's what I think got it done at the end of the day. They weren't get his agency wasn't able to get past the Jefferson number, but the signing bonus is really nice. So well deserved for him. He's a great player, and yeah, good. It's good for Dallas for sure. They needed it because he does a lot for that offense, and it makes things easier for Dak, but it also for that running back room that's a little bit depleted. We're not so sure about, but it opens up for Brandon Cooks and Jake Ferguson as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they finally locked up their number one target, their number one guy. It's a matter of time. I knew this holdout wasn't going to last that much longer because the season starts in less than 2 weeks here, and you want your number one option in the locker room. And glad that deal got done. And now I can draft him if I have that number two overall pick or number three overall pick in fantasy. Not worry about that contract dispute now that it's all said and done. But I believe, yeah, CeeDee Lamb, he deserves to be one of them top five highest paid receivers. I don't know if he's number two, but last year he played like it. I like the move overall for the Cowboys, locking up your number one option, and you going into the season with your number one guy there. And yeah, it's less pressure on Dak and that offense to generate points now that you know you can rely on Mr. CeeDee Lamb. So overall, like the move. He got the bag. And now it's Jamar Chase's time and all the other receivers up and coming here. So good move for the Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb to get that done. But now let's switch things over to the NFC East rival, the Philadelphia Eagles. Last week, they did acquire uh, Jahan Dotson, okay? Washington Commanders receiver, former first round pick back from 2022. His rookie year, he had a phenomenal year for the Commanders. Last year, kind of fell off there, wasn't really used that much in that offense, and I don't know who you blame for that situation. Is it Ron Rivera? Is it Sam Howell? Who knows? Now they're both gone, and now he gets a fresh start here in Philadelphia for the Eagles. He's going to be that third option on the team. You got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and now you can insert Jahan Dotson into the lineup. Since you're the Eagles fan, I got to hear your initial thoughts and reactions to this great move. And also, it was for a third round pick, so not much compensation there. And then I believe it's for another like late pick swap as well. I
It
could
was
be
like
wrong.
the trade details. So we gave up the third and 2 7s to the Commanders, and they gave up Dotson obviously and a fifth. So that's what we got back. The trade, I think it was good for the Eagles, right? The number 3 receiver for us was a camp battle between Johnny Wilson, Paris Campbell, John Ross. Even our punt returner, Britt Covey, was getting some looks there. So they wanted to address that area weakness on the offense. So they go out, they trade Jahan Dotson, who was a firmer first round pick out of Penn State. His rookie year was pretty solid. I think he had like a little over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, I believe. And then last year it wasn't quite that good, but I think it's a good number 3 hole get. But I don't think the Commanders got fleeced like some Eagles fans, some fans of the NFL are saying. I think a 3rd round pick is not a bad get for him, especially considering the numbers he did put up. And I think what we don't know is he was a 1st round pick and they kind of gave up on him for a 3rd. So is there something they don't like about his character or something that we don't know that is a reason they moved on from him? Plus, maybe that 3rd round pick now can be leveraged to get Ayuk to the Commanders now. So maybe it's a chess move for a future move down the board. Maybe that happens before the season. Maybe they hop back in, say, hold on, Steelers, hold on. We're still in this too. Don't forget about
Oh,
us.
my beer.
Exactly. Hold my beer. So for the Eagles standpoint, good. Would I like to see that 3rd round pick get used for on the defensive side for like an edge rusher or a linebacker? Yes, because the defense is weaker, significantly weaker than the offense. So I would like them to improve on that a little bit more. But I can't be mad at it. The 3rd receiver hole was a weak point in the offense, the only weak point really, and you fixed that. So good job from Howie. And also, I think Alec Peters, Commanders, I think they did a pretty good job too. I think they got a good return, and they can move that 3rd round pick in a trade too. So I think it was good for both sides, to be honest. Even though
Yeah.
you're like, okay, why'd you move on from Daniels? But we can. Why'd you move on from Dotson when you have a rookie quarterback? It's another pass catching option, so that I can understand, but I do think they might be trying to get Ayuk there. Plus, Peter's GM was in the 49ers front office, and I think they do have some connection there. So I do think it's an Ayuk play at the end of the day. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that. I believe they do want Ayuk. I think they are all in on Ayuk because the Steelers still haven't gotten anything done yet, and I think Ayuk wants to play with Jaden Daniels. So I believe there has to be something working there in the background, I guess you could say. And I believe, they're all in on Ayuk now with that 3rd round pick. And I think the 3rd round pick was slight overpay because of the production that you were saying from the dip from year 1 to year 2. But
Yeah.
since he was a 1st round pick, I feel like that's why Howie Roseman identified maybe a 3rd round pick wouldn't be that bad because he's still on that rookie contract and he still has 2 years left and there's still a 5th-year option on top of that. So you're getting all that with Jahan Dotson. So maybe it's not an overpay. We will see at the end of the day. But the Eagles are
Yeah.
going all in and, adding a guy like that to an offense that is already super talented. You already got a lot of receivers there. Add Saquon Barkley to the mix, like that offense is now loaded, and there's no more excuses for Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts with that offense and how it is. So all the pressure's on Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts to deliver this year with this move. But I agree. I think the defense needed some help there at the roster cut deadline that happened today. But they could still make moves. The trade deadline's not done yet, so all in all, I like the move for the Eagles and I like the move for the Commanders if it results in them getting Brandon Ayuk. But now let's transition to those roster cuts that happened today. So a lot of teams had to, trim down the fat to the 53-man roster today. And let's talk about some of the notable ones. We're not going to talk about each team and go down the list of all 32 teams. We're going to just touch on some of the notable ones here. So let's talk about Mr. Former first-round pick Kadarius Toney from the New York Giants, got traded to Kansas City, has officially been cut by the Kansas City Chiefs today. at 4 o'clock or whatever it was. Yeah, I think we all expected it. It was the writing on the wall. They just signed Juju. They drafted Xavier Worthy. They already have Rashee Rice. They got Travis Kelce in there. Kadarius Toney had some problems with his drops and all that, and just never could find a way to stay on the field and was always injured. And it was just a matter of time of him getting cut. So, all in all, I kind of expected this already to happen. And just your initial thoughts.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. The wide receiver room was getting pretty crowded, so that was kind of phasing Kadarius Toney out a little bit. And he was a gadget guy, so he did punt returns. But now they have Worthy in there, I think you got some more options to have for your kick return, for your punt returns. So you didn't need Kadarius Toney anymore. And yeah, he didn't have the best performances when he did have his chance last year. He had some drops. He made some mistakes. So yeah, so it's just a product of them bolstering up the wide receiver room for Mahomes, and he was a casualty because of it.
Yeah. We'll talk about the next cut here. So former starting quarterback from the Falcons got traded over to Arizona this past offseason. He couldn't stand a chance on this roster, and he has been cut, and that is Desmond Ridder. He was the third string quarterback on this team and couldn't outperform Clayton Tune. Okay, that's sad, and that just shows how bad the quarterback situation was with Atlanta last year, and they still almost were close to winning the division there. So that's a good sign for Atlanta because now they upgraded heavily in the quarterback room. You got Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix, but yeah, Desmond Ridder being cut, not surprised at all because he looked like crap in the preseason.
Yeah, I didn't think Desmond Ridder played too bad. Yeah, it wasn't. He wasn't the fix. They went Kirk Cousins, great, and drafted Michael Penix Jr. So they automatically upgraded. But for him to get not even the quarterback 2 consideration behind Kyler Murray, that was shocking. And that he lost that job and he eventually got cut. Very surprising. So yeah, and they were 7-10 last year in Atlanta. So for him to get cut, maybe Arthur Smith's not as bad as we thought. Maybe not. I didn't think he used his players the best, like Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, but not bad. Not bad for what he had to work with, though, being like middle of the pack, 7-10.
Yeah. So. Maybe he didn't get a fair shot in that Atlanta situation, but he wasn't good enough for the Cardinals. And who's the coach? Jonathan Gannon? Jonathan Gannon over there in Arizona. Because, yeah, he was not going to get any playing time with Kyler Murray anyway, so it wasn't even going to happen. But, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't like what they saw.
They didn't like what they saw.
Yeah.
So, goodbye. All right. Now let's talk about another guy. LSU receiver, was a stud out of college. Didn't really translate well into the NFL, and I'm speaking about Carolina Panthers receiver Terrence Marshall Jr. Not surprised that he was cut. They found some other receivers there. They drafted Xavier Legette. They got Deontay Johnson, and they still have Adam Thielen. So it's a crowded receiver room, and they wanted him to get a fresh new start, and they didn't see him in their future plans. So they cut the man. Not surprised. Your thoughts?
I keep it short and sweet. I didn't see much production from him. We didn't really hear his name called on Sundays. So, like you said, they got Legette, who was going to take his spot and get his opportunity to shine. So, yeah, they moved off of him because of that, because he didn't produce.
Yeah. All right, this next guy, I believe he was on the Cowboys. Is that correct? This next guy we're about to talk about? I didn't even know this was a guy that was on the Cowboys.
Let me see. Oh, yes.
Carl Lawson?
Yes, yeah. For 12 days. Let's make sure the people
That's know. Pretty notable. And Jerry Jones claims he's a really great GM here. So, yeah, I'm going to sign Carl Lawson. He's going to be great. Yeah, he was cut in 12 days. Not surprised. He's bounced around from team to team. And, yeah, what team is he going to be on next? Stay tuned.
Hey, we need help at edge rusher. Maybe he makes his way over to the Eagles, possibly. We'll see. But, yeah, not much to say. I know he was a good player, just older. But, Yeah, he didn't get much of a fair shot, I don't think. What are you supposed to do in 12 days?
Well, he probably
So,
wasn't gonna get any playing time if he has to deal with Micah and Marcus Lawrence, and they got
I think he's so.
Odigizua as well. So like they got guys there, so it's a crowded room anyway, and they just signed him. He was just probably a preseason buddy at that point. All right, let's talk about another
Yeah.
guy, another quarterback that started last year, Mr. Bailey Zappi, Patriots. So yeah,
Mhm.
another kind of same situation with I guess Desmond Ritter. Crowded quarterback room already, right? You got Drake May, you got Joe Milton, you got Jacoby Brissett. You were not gonna see any playing time, and wasn't even worth keeping on the roster there. So not
Yeah.
surprised at all. And yeah, his run as a Patriot is now over.
Yeah, he'll definitely get picked up on the practice squad somewhere. But like you said, Joe Millen showed flashes, and Drake May, he did have a really good preseason game against Washington. There were some flashes, there were some good signs trending for him to start in the future. So, and that quarterback decision has not been made by Gerard Mayo. It's still up in the air between Brissett and Drake May as we speak. But yeah, crowded room. Bailey Zappi was the odd man left out, and I'm sure a team will sign him to the practice squad soon. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Now this is for all the Eagles fans out there. Your favorite third string receiver back in the day in that Super Bowl run, Quez Watkins from the Steelers. He was on the Steelers. If Eagles fans didn't know that, just got cut.
It
He's a
was.
speedster, and was that guy that you could rely on third down and needed to do a deep shot. Yeah. Well, he was just cut. So not much to say there. Not surprised at all. And yeah,
Yeah.
maybe the Eagles might pick him back up. Who knows?
Um, it's possible with their cuts of Paris Campbell and John Ross, maybe he comes back. But he did kind of struggle for the Steelers. I watched a game where he was on punt return and he fumbled it and lost the ball. So he did struggle. So he couldn't make a name for himself in a receiver room where he could have break camp. I didn't think it's that talented of a room, right? Deontay Johnson's not there. The only notable name is what George Pickens, Calvin Austin. Like you could have broke camp there, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough. He did not perform well, so they moved on from him.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where he ends up. Another former first round pick from the Tennessee Titans, cornerback Caleb Farley. He has been cut, and instant reaction to that. Not surprised. He's always been in and out of the lineup with injuries since day one. And, he was highly regarded coming out of the draft, but just hasn't lived
Yeah.
up to the hype. So maybe he ends up with New York because the Shane Bowen, Tennessee defensive coordinator connection there, but I don't know where he's going to end up. We'll see.
Yeah, the best ability is availability. If you can't be on the field, then you're going to get cut eventually. They're not going to be patient with you anymore. So, like you said, hopefully he gets an opportunity somewhere. New York does make sense, and a secondary that could use some more bodies, use some more youth competition there. So that makes sense. So we'll see where he ends up, and maybe and a team like New York could take a swing on him one last time.
Yeah. And last but not least, Mr. Noah Brown, the receiver from the Houston Texans, has been cut. He had a pretty solid year last year when Tank Dell went down. He was a guy that I remember that was on waiver wire pickups for a lot of people out there, and he was a stud. He was making plays, and he also played for the Cowboys the year before that. So, yeah, Noah Brown, I think he will get a spot somewhere. He showed a lot of production when he was given opportunities. And yeah, just a crowded receiver room there with
Mhm.
Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins and Tank Dell coming back healthy now. So yeah, sucks to see a guy like that leave for the Texans, but I think he'll get a job elsewhere.
Yeah, a team that comes to mind is like the Chargers. The Chargers lost Mike Williams. They lost Keenan Allen. So I think the only guy notable is like Joshua Palmer in the receiver room. So him going there would make sense to give Justin Herbert someone. But yeah, crowded receiver room. John Mechie, I believe, beat him out too. So Yeah, just tough competition. John Mechie's no slouch at all either. He was a good college receiver, and yeah, the top three: Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. Not going to beat those guys out. That's one of the best receiver trios in the league. So, yeah,
Yeah.
just a tough competitive room. But yeah, he'll get an opportunity somewhere. I definitely agree with.
Well, that is it for the notable roster cuts. And if there's any other ones you wanted us to talk about, maybe we'll talk about them on the next episode. But yeah, it's unfortunate all these guys have been cut, but I think some of them will find some new homes and some probably not because they were pretty bad. But let's move on to a guy that's getting a new opportunity, and this is Malik Willis, quarterback, I believe from 2 years ago. That draft class got traded.
Yes.
Yeah, got traded on over to the Packers, and the Titans have found their quarterback room secure with Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. That they didn't want Malik Willis to be on the roster anymore, so they trade him over to Green Bay to get a fresh new start. And because of that, the Packers cut Penn State legend Sean Clifford, which is very sad to see. I believe he was a 5th-round pick, Sean Clifford,
He was.
surprisingly. So sad to see Sean Clifford go. Hopefully he finds a new home. But yeah, we'll go back to Malik Willis here. Are you surprised that Malik Willis was traded, or you think it was written on the wall?
Um, I felt like when I first heard it, I'm like, "Ooh, that's interesting." But I guess when you think about it, is there a little bit of a controversy if you keep him, right? And if Will Levis is there too that he took last year, and you have Willis there, if Levis does bad, then they're going to be clamoring for Malik Willis to come in. So to remove any of like the drama, I guess, in the quarterback room, they moved on from Malik. They send him the backup. Jordan Love, which is a good opportunity for him to learn from a quarterback who had a really good year last year. So that's a good spot for Malik to learn and back up. And Matt LaFleur is a great play caller too. So not a bad spot to end up. But that's the reason why I think they moved on, because they wanted to signify to the team, to the Titans fans, that Will Levis is a guy moving forward.
Yeah. So not surprised at all by the move, and wish him all the luck in Green Bay. But I don't think he'll start anytime soon because Jordan Love is now the highest paid quarterback. So if Jordan Love goes down, that's his opportunity to shine. So we'll see what happens there in Green Bay. See if he sticks there for a little bit, but who knows? Let's move on to another topic. Let's talk about another former quarterback that got drafted high in his draft class, and that's Trey Lance. Now, Trey Lance didn't have a great showing this past weekend in the last preseason game. It was an opportunity maybe for him to shine and maybe go elsewhere in a trade, possibly by this roster cut deadline. Did that happen? No. He threw 5 interceptions against the Chargers. Did not look so hot, but I believe he had a beautiful rushing touchdown. I think that happened. That happened this past weekend. But he put up, I think, 26 fantasy points, though, if you looked at it that way. I don't know if you saw the NFL memes about that. He still dropped 26 fantasy points because of the amount of rushing yards he had and, the rushing touchdown and the passing touchdowns he had. So he still had a good fantasy outing, but 5 interceptions, that's not a good outing. That's not a good outing at all. And are you surprised that the Cowboys did keep him at the end of the day on the 53-man roster?
Um, no, because last year you traded him for like a 3rd-round pick. So, like we were talking about with Dotson, a 3rd-round pick's pretty significant in the
I thought it
NFL.
was a
So,
fifth.
was it a 3rd or a 5th?
I thought it was a fifth.
Is it? Oh, it's only a 5th. Okay. Well, with that being said, um, no, like I guess the same philosophy. It was not, even though a 5th's not as high as a 3rd, you did invest, you did give a pickup for him. So, what this does signify is in the post Dak era, whether that ends after this year, Dak moves on, or if Dak signs for another 4 years, Trey Lance isn't the guy. So we know that now, because he throwing the ball wise, he's not really reading the field well if you're throwing 5 interceptions against like what I was getting on Daniel Jones last week. It's Manila defense. It's not they're not scheming, they're not disguising anything. It's pretty basic. So for him to throw 5 interceptions is ridiculous against that. He's not reading the field at all. So even though he's a great athlete, like you said, he run a really great runner, but if you can't throw the football, you can't be a quarterback though. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I'm not surprised that he's still there, but I guess once that contract's up, he's gonna walk.
Yeah, I think, yeah, once that contract's up, I believe he'll walk as well. And I believe he has one more off season to prove that, he belongs on the roster, and another preseason next year. And maybe, God forbid, Dak gets hurt, and Cooper Rush is sucking it up, that he'll get an opportunity this season. But I highly doubt it. And, that would be an opportunity for him to earn a job maybe in the future with the Cowboys. But I don't see him remaining there in the long-term future. I think he will be gone at the end of the day when this contract is over. But yeah, did not look pretty for a guy that was drafted number 3 overall a few years ago. But last but not least, the topic to end the day with, another Cowboys topic. So Dalvin Cook just visited the Dallas Cowboys today, and supposedly, according to Josina Anderson, the visit went well, and he's a healthy man. He's in good shape, and I think he will be, eventually signing with the Cowboys and could potentially start over Zeke. I think he's better than Zeke when given the opportunity. Last year, he wasn't given the opportunity really with the Jets because Breece Hall was that dog last year. And yeah, I don't know if, he'll start right away, if he even signs with the Cowboys, but I think he deserves a shot with that running back room, how depleted it is.
Yeah, no, I think personally, Jerry Jones is not going to let him leave Dallas. He's going to get a deal done with him for this year because that running back room is depleted. Zeke doesn't got the juice they had from a few years ago, that's for sure. And then you got young guys like I know his last name's Dowdle, but it's like Rico Dowdle, something like that. And then like Deuce Vaughn too. So that's a thin running back room. So, and you need to have like a balanced attack too, I believe, to be a successful offense. So you do need to establish a run, and you can have Dalvin Cook be like a change of pace back from Zeke. Zeke's more in between the tackles. Dalvin Cook could be more like the elusive guy, could run on off the tackle, outside zone runs, that kind of stuff. So I think that would be a good move. How much does he have? Is he kind of washed? Yeah. Same thing with Zeke. But at this point, what are you going to do? You got to try to salvage the running back room to make that playoff push, right? If Mike McCarthy doesn't make that playoff push, he's going to get fired. It's that simple. He needs to go to at least the NFC Championship game, and you have to give him a decent enough shot to do it. So you have to bring in Dalvin Cook, in my opinion.
Yeah, I believe you got to bring him in, and he can compete with that running back room and Zeke and those younger guys there. And I think he can win that starting job if he is signed. I feel like that's how bad that running back room is.
Yeah, I think it'll be more of a committee to me. I think it'll be more split carries, though.
Yeah. I don't feel like, he won't have like 30 carries. Yeah, it'll probably be more split.
Zeke will get some touches.
Yeah, he'll get.
And then maybe one of the other ones is more of the better pass catching guys than a Cook or a Zeke. So we'll see.
We will see. And I think we can end off this episode here. We hit that 30-minute mark, that magical number. So that's good. First time in a while. If you guys want to see more content like this, drop a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We would really appreciate it. And we got some videos coming in store for you guys as well. We got division predictions on the way, and maybe some fantasy football advice as well. We'll talk about it here and see what we're going to do. And if you guys want to see more content, like I said, go check out the link tree down below. Go follow our socials. We're posting on the Reels and TikTok, Shorts, everything we have, you name it, down below in the description box. And any final words, Justin?
No, I love our BenchWire family. I love the old people. And Man, we're so close to the NFL season. Just hang on there for one more week. Enjoy the college football that's about to take place this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. It's been fun.
All right. We'll catch you guys later. BenchWire.
Out.